And how's it going, everybody? And welcome back one more time to Collect Them All, brought to you by mygaragebar.com. Yeah. Bill gives me the look as
All
I'm...
right, Pat Sajak.
Yeah.
Rolling.
You want to turn the letter? Go ahead, Vanna. Switch that letter over there. And, I'm Rich Masucci, of course. Back with you one more time. And, as always, Mr. William Seth joining us.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening?
Nothing.
What's up, Rizza?
Since I skipped that last podcast, I thought I'd grace you with this one.
It just pop in.
Yeah, pop in.
Pop in so I can.
out.
Yeah, pop in so I can record some audio and drop it.
Yep.
There you go. That's going to be like the new joke we have because you're just kind of hopping around on the shows now.
Yeah, I guess.
We're just going to record your audio and who knows?
I'm getting pickier. Pickier.
Oh,
I vetoed that last one.
You vetoed it. I'm gonna have to have like the green M&Ms and shit out now.
He's going to be a diva.
He is a diva. This guy.
I'm above this.
And Mr. Kyle Lentz, what's happening, man?
Hey,
Decided to come back and be subjected to this torture one more time.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Now,
Toy talk.
Now, you guys know we have a big show coming up here this, Saturday at noon. We're doing the HeroCon in lovely downtown Utica, New York. And I guess from what I see, we're listed at 12 o'clock to 12:40. We're doing a little presentation. We're going to be up there on the stage talking about action figures, toy collecting. I think we're going to also be doing like a little bit about preservation of some of these toys and how to keep them from turning into goop right before your very eyes, things like that. But if you're out in the area, if you're in the Utica area or right surrounding area, and you want to stop out and see us and maybe go to HeroCon, obviously I'll post some details up on this on the link here, and you can make some plans. I think, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to have it out in too much time, give you too much notice, but yeah, should be a fun time. They got some good acts up there and different things going on. So tonight we got a little conversation we got to have here. The last time we did Collect Them All when we had you guys on, and this is going back to like February, the end of February. If you remember, we were talking at that point about all these new toy lines that we had just seen the pictures of. Everything that was about to come out.
What was that? What was that from?
Toy Fair.
That was from the Toy Fair, which
Fair,
was
yeah.
just had happened in New York City, and we were all saying about the retro Star Wars figures. We were all jazzed up for that. There was some new Marvel Legends lines coming out that I was all excited about. Bunch of stuff at the time. The new NECA stuff. And now, of course, here we are like 3 months later, and it's all hitting the market, and just kind of wanted to see what you guys actually think about this stuff now that you're holding it in your hands and you've had a chance to...
How do you know when I'm holding it in my hand?
Because I'm looking across that table. This guy, don't let him fool you. He came walking in today with a box of the Star Wars retro figures.
I did.
So I guess let's start with that first of all. I've been unable to find them, but I know...
I wonder why.
Yeah, but I know that other lucky ones out there like yourself... You've found multiple, so
I like them in the respect that it's made me $170, and I'm sure Kyle feels the same way.
I do, absolutely.
When they came in, I didn't even look at them yet. I just knew when they were coming in, and I had sent Kyle a message, and I'm like, for all I know, they're supposed to have a street date of May 12th, but they are ringing through the register. So if you want these, you got to get down here now, because the minute some local aggressive collectors get wind of this, they're going to pester the employees, and they're going to be gone, and we're not going to get them. So he came down like 5 seconds later.
rushed right down.
And I was like, whoa, okay, you're here already. That's crazy. And so I went in the back room, and it was like really the first time I looked at him. So we opened him up, and it's the initial reaction where it's like, it hits that, nostalgia mark. And I was like, wow, these are fucking awesome. Like, this is like the one when I was a kid, except, they have a retro sticker on there or whatever. And Kyle was all about it. I was all about it. He bought a set. Yep. I bought a set. And later that night, I got home. I was like, what the fuck did I buy these things for? I'm like, I have the originals, like, up teen times over, not necessarily all in the cards, because I got rid of all those years ago. But, I have the actual figures. I'm like, they're not originals. You know, like they're duplications. So
Right.
there's something that is not genuine about them. And I was like, oh man, let me see if people are biting on these things. I might just get rid of them. When I saw what they were going for, I was like, all right, I got to get rid of these things.
Yep, they're out the door.
They're selling for more than twice the price.
Right.
And so I sent Kyle a message on Facebook. I'm like, "You keeping yours?" He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I did.
So
like shortly after he tells me how much he sold them for, I'm like, I'm throwing them right up.
Because I put mine up, and I'm like, dude, they sold in like a couple hours, and then he sold his, and I was like, well, now that I've made X amount of money, let me just get another set, because it's like I made some money, and the extra kind of paid for a set I can actually keep, and I don't feel so bad about wasting. $60 on them or whatever, because they're $10 a pop, which I think is reasonable. But I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that I don't know. You look at them the first time, and they're kind of like that nostalgic sweet spot.
Right.
They look really cool, but then you get home and you're just looking at it, you're like, this isn't what I wanted it to be. So
what did you want it to be?
I guess I just wanted to sort of recapture what I loved about the original one. So it's not the same, I mean, I guess maybe if I was a kid that had never had those before and got them for the first time, these would have been great.
I mean, let me pull one of these out of the box here and look at it. Because this is what I see on all the forums and all the collectors. The minute these were announced, I think we can all agree that every diehard vintage-only collector was like, fuck these figures.
Absolutely.
They're going to ruin vintage collecting. No one's going to be able to tell the difference. And
especially with the weapons.
With the weapons. Mm-hmm. And then the minute the 12th rolled around and nobody could find these because every Target had already sold them like days prior.
Yeah. Right.
Every one of these same people that were bitching about them were like, oh, fuck this. This is bullshit. I can't find them. I can't. I went to 6 Targets. I can't find them. Well, I thought you didn't fucking want them to begin with.
Right.
Now all of a sudden everybody fucking wants them. And the way I see it is, like, if I've never had this Chewbacca on a card, if I was a collector and I was like, you know what, I have, real responsibilities. I can't afford this Chewbacca, the real vintage one on a card. I don't have hundreds of dollars to drop on it. This is a pretty good facsimile to just hang on your wall or do whatever with. I'd be satisfied with this. But like I said, I have like 24 Chewbaccas, not necessarily on a card. But so to me, it's like, do I need this? I don't know, but I think they did a pretty good job, all things considered. You can peel the retro sticker off, so it looks a little bit
more like the original.
More like the original. Yeah. But I know what you're saying. Like the nostalgia part, I really think like when I hold this in my hand, I'm looking at this as we're talking. I think it's close, but I think the part that I really loved the most was like being driven to Woolworths or Kmart or Bradley's. Right. And, my grandmother or my mom or whoever taking me to the toy section and seeing, like, 20,
it's
40,
like a wall
of
just
these
Star
figures.
Wars.
And, and you're seeing them really getting them for the first time and thumbing through them and cracking them open. That's what I love. I'm not going to Target and being like, wow, look at so many Star Wars figures, and I'm going home and opening it and like that's never coming back.
Right. You're right.
So, I mean, I guess, like I said, for $10, if you don't want to spend the hundreds of dollars on the originals, I think it's, they did a good job. I don't, people are hemming and hawing. They're doing like comparisons with the weapons. And
I see people online going nuts with it.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. Obviously, they're stamped, 2019 Hasbro and not Kenner. So, and the weapons, they're pretty close to the original. I mean, they're pretty damn close.
Yeah, I've already heard they float and everything.
Yeah, so. they're pretty close. I mean, if you're not well versed, this could fool you, but I mean, if you're collecting vintage toys, I mean, you should be doing your homework. If you're fooled by this, then shame on you, more or less.
Well, I'm sure too. Like if you see something come through now and it is, nice, shiny, no signs of playware on it or anything,
be
you take another look. Yeah, especially like the Leia, who's like shiny white, or the Stormtrooper.
There's no yellowing at all.
Nothing.
I will say this. A lot of people are like, oh, I wonder if they're going to do more because it's only 6. It's Han, Chewie, Luke, Stormtrooper, Vader, and Leia. I don't really care if they keep going, but if they do, and they do a Jawa, no one in the United States is going to find a fucking Jawa because I swear to God, I'll buy every single one of them. Like those are all mine.
Not Weequay?
I'd buy a weekly. I don't want all of them. The Jawas, I mean, I would collect those in droves. But I mean, if they're gonna do 6, just at this point,
might as well do the whole line.
Do the whole fucking line.
Right.
Do the last 17. You know, I don't give a shit. I don't have a Luke Stormtrooper from the vintage line. I never liked that figure.
That was terrible.
I hate that no neck squat face. Like this doesn't look like Luke. I don't want to spend the money. If I went to Target or Walmart or whoever the fuck is carrying these things, and they had the Luke Stormtrooper, I'd crack that fucker open and put him right in my vintage collection. I'd be completely happy with it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. Again, I don't know if they're going to make those characters or those figures, but I don't have the pop-up Saber R2. That's the only one I am missing.
Right.
And I sit there and I struggle with it. I look online and I'm like,
so expensive now.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
Ridiculous.
And you look at all of them, they have the decals. They're all dirty. They're all kind of, torn.
I've been using someone's butt plug.
Yeah, right. And then even if you want to just buy the Saber looks like a freaking green baseball ball.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And I'm like, oh man, I'm not paying that much money for that tiny little piece of green plastic that doesn't even look right. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. If they come out with one of those, I will finish my collection with the newer one.
If you didn't jump on that R2 pop-up maybe like 5 years ago, you're fucked. Like when Jacob picked up the carded one, he got it at the right time because now you can't touch a carded one.
No, I think he got that at that time for like was it $300?
Yeah, I mean that's
steal. It was a steal. And now, you can't even buy.
Well, look at Boba Fett, man. Like I said, I sold all my carded figures back in 2005, right before I moved to California. I sold them in a lump sum because I just wanted to get the hell out of New York. I didn't really care. And Star Wars was kind of on the comeback, but it wasn't like it is now. And I had a lot of bullshit figures like Admiral Akbar, Weequay, but I had some good ones too. And I had a Boba Fett and the Jedi card. And if I broke it down, I probably made just a few $100s off of that. Now, what's that thing worth? Thousands. I'm like, what the? But you don't know. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, you're right.
You never know.
What about the Tarkin? Did you guys get a chance to see Tarkin?
Wait, did you get rid of yours, Kyle?
Yeah, I sold mine off too.
Oh, okay.
I sold everything.
The game,
Sold
everything, sold the whole
everything.
Got
Got
I
rid
ain't
of
playing
everything.
this. This game was fucking whack. Fucking 40 years ago, I haven't been playing it now.
One foul swoop, everything gone.
Yep.
I actually, I have the original game on that, and you're right. I mean, who the hell plays that game? But it was quite the marketing strategy, whatever,
absolutely.
to throw that in there. Now everybody's got to buy a damn board game to get it. So
I think the Tarkin sucks, to be honest with you.
yeah,
The face isn't. It
The
doesn't look
body, cool, but the face, it's not good at all.
looks like somebody's grandfather.
If this was 1978, you'd be like, "Oh hell yeah, that's Tarkin." But,
no, you wouldn't.
but as a kid, we would be like, "That's Tarkin," because you would buy it because everything looked like that.
No.
Even that shitty Luke Stormtrooper, I had that.
Yeah, I know.
And that little pinhead he had, you were still like, "Oh, that's Luke Stormtrooper."
I'll say this. You go on like these, forums, Star Wars forums. All these people are like, "Oh, we're finally getting Tarkin. We should have had him years ago." Let's be honest. When you were 5 years old, 6 years old, you didn't care.
I didn't want a Mothma either.
Exactly. I didn't want I didn't give a shit. I just
Right.
wanted the aliens. I wanted the bad guys. And to me, that was some crusty old white man hanging out, talking shit to Darth Vader. And I never understood why Darth Vader didn't just wipe him out. So I'm like, I didn't give a shit. Stop lying, people, on these forums. You didn't want Tarkin when you were 6 years old.
I wanted more Cantina aliens.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's what I wanted.
hell yeah.
I wanted that big mantis guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been cool.
Or the devil. The guy that looks like the devil.
Yeah,
The
man.
werewolf.
I wanted
Yeah.
those sexy twins.
Still do.
They're pretty old at this point, Reg.
They might even be dead. Who knows? But I mean, so the overall opinion then is not bad, but it's certainly not bringing back the feel.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's a swing and a miss. I actually think they did a great job, but you just can't go home again. You know, I think we all felt like that's what was going to happen,
Right.
but it's just not.
I mean, it's good in the fact that collectors are scrambling for this. They want this particular set of figures.
Yep.
It's not for kids, obviously. This is more for the collector to buy, and Hasbro needs this. They need to boost the Star Wars sales. They need to get more
'cause
people
that's just
interested
dead on
in it.
arrival.
That's the problem. So I think this is going to maybe help them
Well,
catch a little attention.
on the 12th, it was these guys. It was the Vintage Collection Han, Stormtrooper, and then the 6-inch Black Series Luke in Stormtrooper in the whatever trash compactor grime or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know about any other Targets, but our store only got 2 of those Lukes, and I was like, I don't fucking get it, man. This is your exclusive. How many nerds across the United States are waiting for these things?
Right.
You know, they're only $20 a pop. You couldn't send us more than fucking 2 of these figures. I mean, I guess
should have.
I wasn't
Yeah.
there in the morning, but I guess people were already like complaining about it. But I was like, I just don't get it. Like Hasbro hates money. I don't get it.
We're in business to
It can't be
fail.
Target. It can't be them. You know, it's got to be Hasbro's distribution.
Yeah.
It must be.
Yeah.
I would assume.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Yeah. You
But
think they'd flood the store with this stuff? I mean, just to get people to buy more shit.
Well, if anyone's listening to this and they're wanting these figures, I can tell you they're supposed to be part of a Father's Day end cap, so we're gonna get a shit ton more of these.
Good.
A Father's Day end cap. There you go.
There
Say-
you
yeah,
go.
not-
There you go, old man. Remember these when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Shove them up your ass.
Shit.
Not for kids. Not for Kids' Day or
Yeah.
Kids' birthday, but Father's Day. Here you go,
Yeah.
Dad.
But
There you go,
I
Dad.
think
Here's for you and your midlife crisis.
I think though it speaks volumes
those
though.
memories.
It speaks volumes though that those came out and they're gone versus some of the new stuff, the new movies, and that stuff you can't get rid
Where's that Rose Tico? I gotta get her.
of. Yeah.
Those
Can't get rid of that
resistance,
shit.
the resistance figures, they just sit on the shelf.
Oh, dude, we've had the same Resistance figures in my store since the initial case. I'm like, what? We sold half of these, and you can't give that stuff away.
No.
The only time Star Wars ever sells is when it goes to fucking clearance.
Or they bring back that
Oh,
the
yeah.
retro
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, you bring
Right.
back the stuff from the 70s, 80s, boom, it's gone. Original trilogy stuff, gone.
Yeah.
Anything that has anything to do with, like, well, I shouldn't say the prequels, because when they did those 6-inch prequel
Yeah.
set with, like, Mace Windu, those actually flew. But, you know, any of the more modern stuff, J.J. Abrams, like, nobody cares, man.
Yeah, that's kind of done.
Yeah.
So interesting. Moving on, the Marvel Legends. You've seen the Marvel Legends? You're not really big into those.
No,
to
I
begin
don't
with.
really collect those.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say the Spider-Man line I was seriously disappointed with.
Really?
I didn't like it, man. I just thought the sculpts were weak. The character selection was okay, but like I was like, oh, cool, Black Cat, and Silver Sable. Those are cool characters to come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
They look so generic to me. Like just I don't know.
I didn't like the Black Cat. They had one from before. I'm trying to remember what series. It was probably several years ago, and that was a little bit more like I was used to in the comics. This one with the new, it's got like the eyes on the suit. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's just like that goofy expression on her face.
Yeah,
and-
she's all smiles and like, maybe not. I don't know. Then I was looking at the armored Thanos line that they just came out with, and I guess
What the hell's that?
armored Thanos from Endgame. He's got the gold armor on.
No, was that the Build-A-Figure?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
But the thing that drives me nuts that they do with this is if you look at the characters that they come out with, they put the Build-A-Figure piece with, they're the worst characters. I mean, who was it? Like
The Living Laser.
a living laser, Nighthawk. I mean, come on, who the hell cares about any of those figures?
I watched you hem and haw for the Living Laser.
Yeah, because the first thing I was
wants
hemming and
him?
hawing about was how quickly can I sell the character and keep the Build-A-Figure piece. It's just, and they realize that. That's kind of their shtick now. Is they, especially for a very well-known character who everybody's going to want, like that Thanos. Well, let's see how much garbage we can
Well, I
put
don't
into
understand
that
that
line.
because Marvel has, just an endless array of characters.
Yeah.
So why make the Living Laser? Why don't you just make somebody interesting?
But that's what I think. I think they're kind of sitting on those interesting characters. This is going to go on for years. It already has gone on for years. So let's give them the worst assortment of figures that we can and put them with a really interesting Build-A-Figure. And that way, they have to buy these. So, I mean, if you look at eBay right now and you look at the amount of, like, living lasers there's a ton of them. There's
$4.99.
tons. Yeah, you can't give them things away on eBay either. And but everybody wants to build a figure piece. And it's, kind of a shitty marketing tactic that they use. But,
When that line came out, I got really excited when I saw Ronin and Ebony Maw.
Yeah.
And just the other night, I just returned them. I was like, I don't want these.
You returned Ebony Maw?
And Ronin.
Oh, I didn't see the Ronin yet, but I saw an Ebony Maw at Walmart the other night. And I went, Wow, how'd that thing get
No,
here?
it's probably mine.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
I mean, do they sell well at Target, the Legends figures? Or?
Let me tell you how the Marvel Legends operates at Target. We'll get a new assortment, and then we never see it again. And then they send us an assortment from like a year ago. Like I'm not even joking. We have so much of that X-Men assortment from like 2 years ago or whatever it is. We have so many goddamn like whatever Beetle figures.
Oh yeah,
like
the Beetle.
It's insane. Like no clearance is shit. It's
Yeah.
trash. And get the new stuff in. Like we got the Craven and Spider-Man in.
Oh yeah, gone.
We will never see that again.
Yeah.
Like that's
Right.
how it works at Target. We'll get them in once and never again. Then we'll just get some old line that nobody wants and they don't
Yeah.
understand why it's not moving.
You guys, like you said, you've been sitting on the Beetle down there forever, and I think like Paladin is another one.
Oh,
that,
okay. Yeah, if anyone needs Paladin and the Beetle, yeah, come
there
on
are
down to
pallets
Harvard
of Paladin.
Target. which is insane because I go over to the Fayetteville Target and they have like a ton of stuff. I'm like, what? Yeah, I get it. This area's a cesspool. Send us the Beetle.
We got more Beatles. Where are they going? Send them to Harvard.
Send them to Harvard Target. They love the Beetle
Those
out there.
shitbirds that live around there all know the difference.
Send them the Beetle. Shit.
That's why I miss like KB and those kind of stores.
What,
Because,
the high prices?
well, no, you'd get them in clearance. You'd get those figures that you couldn't
Oh,
find
yeah, that's
anywhere
true.
else in clearance at some point, like down the road. They'd finally get them in like some sort of dump bin or something.
Well, that's what's good about like TJ Maxx,
Yeah.
Ross, what the Burlington Coat Factory now.
Yeah, sometimes they
Really?
get that shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
you have to hit those at the right time. But yeah, you
They-
can find stuff there.
Yeah, they got good stuff every once in a while.
Would you think of the X-Men line, this one that they did with who was it? It was Caliban.
I
was
did.
the Build-A-Figure, which is very weird. That's a weird thing. Like this one, they put a bunch of really cool characters, but the Build-A-Figure is kind of shit.
Like, eh.
Yeah. So
I didn't see any of them except who was the girl? It's not like I have no idea. What
Blink?
the hell- Yeah, Blink.
Yeah.
I saw her and Forge.
yeah, he's around.
Yeah.
But like Jubilee, can't find her.
I don't. Why would you even want her? Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else is in there. Beast was in there, and then Gambit I think was.
Yeah,
the other one.
I don't really care about that line too much.
See, I wanted
The 90s.
Yeah, that's like the what? Not Mark Silvestri era. What?
Jim
is
Lee.
it? Jim Lee
Yeah,
era.
yep.
Yeah, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I think that's why everybody wanted it. And if you look at the price on like the Rogue that came through maybe like a year ago, the price on that figure went from $20, and now if you look at it on eBay, it's like 70, 80 to get the damn thing.
Really?
And you're
Crazy.
like, why in the hell would that be? That's one of the last Jim Lee looking
Oh,
rogues
okay.
that you can get.
I love that Storm that they released like last.
Oh, that's
fall.
yeah,
That
that's
was
wild.
great, too.
And I think they're actually redoing that too. So
No.
it's never
Well,
ending.
that one goes with Forge better with the Mohawks.
Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, I do like a lot of those figures. The only thing I really don't like though is the marketing that they use and the fact that they are keeping me penniless. I mean, if you want to collect any of those figures, obviously it's $20 a pop. You got to buy like 6 of them to build the figure, unless you want to go on eBay.
Right.
And if you're doing like the Kingpin right now, the pieces, they're more expensive than the figure online. So it's just crazy.
I never know if Rich is actually lying because he's always like, "Hey, they're keeping me in the poorhouse." But
They
I'm
are.
like, "Yeah, they have this figured out in the store. I'm broke. I can't get them." I'm like, "Well, how the fuck are these things keeping you in the poorhouse if you can't buy them to begin with? Something else is keeping you in the poorhouse."
A lot of things are keeping me in the poorhouse. Every toy line out there keeping me in the poorhouse.
Or I'm like, "Hey, they have these down at the store, and he's like, "Oh, I can't get them right now." And then like 5 minutes later, he does run down there and get them. I have no idea, but
I ran down and got the who was it I picked up from you that day? Professor X.
oh yeah,
that's wild.
That's awesome.
So
Did you see that one, Kyle? The Professor X. We had that at Target.
Is it the
Again,
gold chair,
yeah.
the floating chair? or
Yeah.
whatever?
That's pretty
And
cool.
what, Deadpool on a scooter? Was that the
yeah.
other one?
Yep. That's the other one. So
I haven't
That's
seen
why.
those yet.
Oh, you did see, Kyle, the... yeah, you're going to like this. The NECA Turtles figures. Remember
Oh,
we-
yeah.
they had them up here.
Yeah. So, these things, when they came in, basically how it works is, like, NECA has, somebody that, like, goes to, like, whatever stores and, fills their aisles, like, outsourced or whatever. So
they come themselves to do this?
yeah, NECA comes themselves. So usually NECA hires some fucking random like maybe retiree or some nitwit that can't find work elsewhere because they don't give a shit about toys. They don't know
Labor
what the
ready.
fuck is going on, right? Exactly. Like, oh yeah, you just got out of rehab, whatever.
I just got out of the clinic.
like oh, you're a registered sex offender. You need a job. No one will hire you. NECA will hire you. And
Dealing with kids' toys.
Here you go. Here's these toys. Set them on a shelf. And like it cracks me up because they put them on the shelves, right? We had this like weird old guy that comes in, fills the shelves. He's always like hemming and hawing, like his life is like so tough putting fucking toys on the shelf. And instead of like putting the new figures on the shelf and pricing them accurately, it's whatever fucking tag is already there. So it could be like a tag from like I'm not joking, like 2 years ago, and it'll say something like Chucky or something for $20, and he'll put a fucking $40 figure right there. I'm like, what is this prick doing? Because now everyone's gonna come and grab these things like, oh, it says $20. I'm like, well, yeah, I know it does, and the figure's like 6 deep, so it looks like, and then you got like honor this crazy price. So anyway, I digress. The guy's an idiot.
Wait, you have to honor that price?
No. So
good to know.
NECA needs to get their shit together with these people that they're hiring. So we got the Turtles ones in, right? The animated ones. And I was like, oh, cool. They're like two-to set. It was like Krang with Donatello.
They're beautiful. I mean,
like
they look
Shredder
amazing.
with somebody.
Yeah.
A Foot Soldier
Yeah.
with somebody. I was like, wow, they're amazing.
And it's that Krang with that little body, or that two-legged suit thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, so I was like, oh,
really cool.
Maybe I'll pick up the Donatello and the Krang, because I love Donatello. So I'm like, obviously it says whatever price on this, and I know that's bullshit. So let me scan it and see what the price is. $50. I think it was like either $49.99 or $59.99 for 2 figures. I was like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Unbelievable.
So we got, I think, two each of those. And the next time I went in, gone. So this was like 2 days later. Gone. I was like, okay, either somebody came in and bought all these because they're insane, or they just all got stolen. I'm not sure. So this is maybe a couple months back.
You found the box.
No.
Okay.
So I go into work and I'm like doing like whatever reshop or whatever in your guest services, and there's a entire set of them. So apparently somebody bought these and either had shopper's remorse or couldn't flip them for the amount that they wanted, and then returned them, realizing, hey, I spent like $200 on these.
Jesus, yeah.
And so I put those on the shelf, dude.
Gone
the next day. I was like, holy, what the hell? Like, where do people get this expendable cash to buy these Turtles figures?
I mean, when you told me the price, because I saw them and I'm like, those are amazing. They look so good. And you're like, no, they're like $60.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck that.
But what was a good deal is that Godzilla. I think it was like $23.99 for that new Godzilla.
Oh,
That
really?
thing is smashing. It's the King Kong versus Godzilla version.
Yep.
Oh my god, it's
cool.
crushing. The box is crushing. The figure's fantastic.
I would have bought that in a heartbeat.
Oh, that one we keep getting in.
Nice.
That old man keeps looking in Godzilla.
More of these
kids want more?
goddamn Godzillas.
I know you like Godzilla. I got tons of them. Whole pallet. Hey, I don't know. I remember last time when we were talking too, you were talking about the Super 7 figures.
Yes.
Did you? Were you able to find any of those?
I
or?
picked up a couple of the new variants of the Master Universe. There was a Slime He-Man, Slime Pit He-Man.
Yeah.
It was all green. I got the Hordak. That's the color of the original figure line.
Oh,
so they took the 3 3/4 one and painted that one. And I got a Tila that was she's like blue skinned, which was the original Sorceress.
Don't tell
design.
Mike Kowalski.
Yeah, you'll get a fight.
So the Shiva version of
okay.
Tila.
But
yeah,
those
picked
are
up
pretty
those.
good though.
I love them.
Wait, those are 3 3/4. You
Yes.
said? Okay.
3 3/4. Because I mean the 6-inch ones they do are great, but they're they're $20 a pop. And
Aren't those all pre-orders though?
yeah,
Okay.
they're all pre-orders now. And same with they did a line of the movie ones. I think they're like 7 or 8-inch.
Those are
like
pretty
that.
wild.
They're
saw those.
amazingly awesome, but they're like $40 a piece,
Ugh.
and you have to pre-order these. It was like 30 or 40. But
the Masters of the Universe movie, they made figures of those? With,
They-
like Frank Traglia or whatever that guy was.
Frank Langella.
Yeah, I would totally get that.
Frank the Drago. I think he lives around here.
He works at a pizza place.
He's the guy you see walking up and down the street talking to himself.
Well, that makes sense.
Did you? And I know you have the Snake Mountain that came.
Oh
out
god,
from,
that thing is
from Super
amazing.
7. Amazing, but the price on it.
Ridiculous.
What-
It's like I think it was like $600, $700, $800.
Someone in this
that.
room is going to wind up buying it.
Nah,
Why are you looking at me? It ain't
I'm
gonna
not
be me. That's
gonna.
gonna be him.
Because you're
No.
the Master of the Universe guy, right?
That's where my universe ends.
if it was 3 3/4 scale, I'd probably wind up buying it. But it's for the 8-inch ones, or 7-inch. They're really the taller classics line that Mattel started back on Matty Collector. It's for that scale.
Yeah.
I never did those.
See,
are so
I can't
expensive.
collect any of the He-Man or Masters Universe because there were so many different lines and so many companies, and they're still kind of like intermingled, and I get lost in it, man. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
I'm still trying to get Bill to resurrect that Castle Grayskull that's in his front yard that he keeps hitting with a lawnmower. So
Yeah, so Rich comes over. I don't know. This was like a few months back, and he's picking some stuff up, and he goes, "Is that Castle Grayskull sitting in your yard?" And I was like, "Yeah." And there's still like snow on the ground a little bit, kind of muddy or whatever. And he's like, "Well," picks it up. He's like, "Why don't you do something with this? Why don't you sell it or something?" Like, you know what? I'm like, and I put it. It was like my bird feeder and stuff. And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "I can't even fucking deal with this." And he's like trying to prop it up. I'm like, "Rich, when you leave, I'm just gonna throw it back in the yard near the bird feeder." You know, like the sticker was like mint. It was in a lot better condition, but you know, over like the course of almost a year, you know, hitting it with the lawnmower and like moving it and throwing it around, like
the elements.
Yeah, it's pretty beat up. So yeah, I don't really care about He-Man. Really,
I picked one up at a flea market for $10, and I wanted it just so I could repaint it and have it for display so my kids could play with it with the figures.
yeah,
So I
makes
did
sense.
that with it. And
Should have hit Bill up.
looks
He would have
awesome.
given it to
I
you.
know.
See, when I was a kid, I had Snake Mountain. When I was a kid, I never actually had Castle Grayskull. I had everything like I liked all the bad guys. So I had like Snake Mountain, that slime thing from
Slime pit.
and,
Yeah.
like the tree and
the Hordex Freight Zone.
Yeah, the Freight Zone. There
Yeah.
you go. And I didn't have Castle Grayskull, so when I got that cheap one, I had no attachment to it. I was like, I don't give a fuck about this thing. I didn't care about it then. I don't care about it now. So
The birds do. They love it.
The birds, they love it.
The birds are thanking you. And then it's a true story. I think I took a picture of that. You have to understand. I was going to his house to like pick up something. I forget what it was. He had something there. I was like, oh, I'd be interested in buying it. So I get over there, and there are toys laying everywhere. And it's the stuff that everybody would be like, oh my God, I would die for that. He's got like all the vintage Star Wars figures laying everywhere all over the floor, just like stepping on them and everything. And then, like I said, you walk out, he's like, you know, I think that might be in my shed. Let's go out there. So we start walking out towards the shed where there's just boxes of all this stuff just flying everywhere. And that's when I looked over and I see there sitting in the snow the skull. I can see it. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? Why do you have that in your yard? He's, oh yeah.
No, there's so many vintage casualties, like, because there's stuff just like, it's not bad now, but I mean, it was pretty bad over the winter when I couldn't like get anything organized. But every once in a while, like I like step on something, like crack. I'm like, I'm like, oh, there goes that X-wing panel. That's done. I broke a vintage X-wing stepping on it. I just threw it in the trash. And then a piece of the Death Star, that hologram thing, stepped on that, it broke.
Oh, from the
Star
Star Destroyer.
You know, at the same time, I'm like, who cares? Just one less thing to like have in the house. Just like throw it out. And everyone else would be like, oh, what's going on over there? Like, what are you doing? But I'm like, there's just so much. You accumulate so much stuff over like summer with garage sales and estate sales, and then
You throw it on the floor.
I was like, oh, I'll get this all organized, blah blah blah. But like, Halloween, I was like working on that, and then like, the next thing, I was getting like more hours, and you worry about the holidays, and I just never got any time to like get things organized. So they're all just like shopping bags, and Dimitri will come in and he'll be like, oh, what's this? And he'll throw shit everywhere.
Mighty Beans.
Then I don't have any time to clean anything up, or things get mixed with his toys, and it's just like complete chaos.
Yep.
It's total okay. I went with them to Carousel Mall, and Dimitri got. Is that what the name of them? Mighty Beans.
Oh yeah, Mighty Beans.
Oh,
Those little Mighty Beans,
Yep.
right? And he was all about them. And then like 2 days later, I see the pictures on Facebook that Bill put up of those same Mighty Beans stuffed in the back of the dishwasher.
Oh yeah, well one guy, that was actually Mara. She stuck it in the dishwasher. Like, what the hell's that? I was like, oh my god. Yeah, he got a whole bunch more of those for his birthday. Dude, like his birthday, he got so much stuff. I was like, oh my god, like just way out of control.
That boy loves his Mighty Beans.
Yes, he does.
Do you think like one day he'll be 30 going, I need to get these Mighty Beans back in my life to relive that, rekindle that magic
Going to
I
a
had.
Mighty Bean collector.
Right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I spoil him so much with toys that he probably doesn't have any appreciation for anything, to be quite honest with you. I mean, there's certain things he's definitely fixated on, like he loves those Transformer bots. He likes Transformer anything. He's been fixing on it for a long time. But I think like the Mighty Beans and stuff like that, like the Grocery Gang. I was like those
Yep.
little rubber guys. Whatever. He'll probably like.
Yeah.
I don't even remember playing with that garbage.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Transformers, did you buy any of the I think you bought all of that, the new stuff, right? The
The
reissues.
Siege?
Oh, the Siege stuff.
Oh, the Siege or the reissue
The
stuff?
reissues.
Reissue stuff I have. I got the Starscream. Who else did they make? I got Optimus Prime.
I thought that Prime was a little steep. I mean,
well,
$50.
they want them clearance in him.
Oh,
so,
they did.
Yeah,
oh,
so I
if you
got
get it
them
on
like
clearance,
way cheaper.
$50 was, I thought,
with no trailer.
Yeah, with no trailer. It was
Yeah,
a bit
they
much.
marked him down to $20, so I was like, okay, that's fine.
What was it, Walmart they did that?
Yeah, in the Rome one. Yeah, I got all the minifigures. I pretty much got everything. I'm waiting for Soundwave with the cassettes. I'll definitely pick that up. The Siege stuff is
that's amazing.
That's amazing. I got Prowl, Ironhide.
Those two
Shockwave.
are some of the best ones. That Prowl and Ironhide look amazing.
I don't have Megatron or Optimus because I have so many versions of them. Like, can I really justify
One
buying
more.
another one? I want the Ultra Magnus, but that's like $50
I
too.
know,
Oh my
that
God.
one's great.
Did you opened all that stuff up, obviously, right?
The Siege stuff I haven't opened yet. I eventually will, but that Ironhide, you're right. I mean, that's like.
Yeah, they never made one
Fantastic.
that looked so close to the original like animated series.
Oh, I got Soundwave and Starscream from that line too. I did not open the Starscream, but then I learned that initial run of Starscream, he's supposed to have a metal pin that runs across his chest plate, but they forgot to insert it, so his chest plate just falls off. So they're like, oh, well, don't worry, the next, whatever run of him, we're going to have the pin in.
So just buy some more.
So buy another one. Thanks, Hasbro. You're
Yeah.
fucking
Perfect.
pricks.
I'm surprised they didn't say, "We'll be patient and we'll send you a pin."
Yeah, well, I'd have actually appreciated it.
Yeah.
As far as Hasbro's concerned, I bag on them quite a bit, but I'll tell you this: I've had a few problems with some figures. They did that the reissue of Devastator
Oh yeah.
over Christmas, and I bought one for my son for Christmas because he liked the original Devastator, but that thing is so brittle. Every time he plays it, like a part of Devastator would break. And like I said, whatever, they're toys. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it's 30 years old and it breaks. I don't care. I'm just bummed that he's bummed that this toy is breaking and he's like to play with. So when they did the reissue, I was like, perfect. It's not brittle old plastic. I'll get him the set. And I bought it like the minute it came out. It was like $75, and I know that got clearance or whatever, but I paid top dollar. Pulled it out a few days after Christmas, and one of the guys broke. I was like, fuck. So I contacted Hasbro, and they sent me a new set for free.
The whole set?
The whole
Wow.
damn set. And I was like,
That's incredible.
I was like, okay. I'm like, I can't
yeah.
complain about that. That was nice of them.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
it is
Most
awesome.
places would say, "We really care."
Yeah.
Just not about you. So, and the last thing I'm going to ask you, just out of morbid curiosity, did you see the McFarlane Game of Thrones figures that are now out?
Oh, I saw them at Walmart.
Yeah, I saw
did.
them.
You know what? I love Arya so much in the show. I really wanted to buy it. And I thought the Night King was well done.
That
too.
looks pretty much
Yeah.
like him. Yeah.
But who else is there? There's Jon Snow.
Yeah, Jon
and,
Snow and Daenerys.
who?
Daenerys is on there.
Yeah. The hell with them. Jon Snow's the Homer Simpson of Game of Thrones now. I always say him like he's that show. Fuck that show.
Oh boy!
Hey, here we go.
What did I tell you
Yeah.
before you came in?
We
Fuck
were just
that
talking
show.
about this before you got
Yeah.
here.
Hey, hey.
'Cause I've not seen the show. I just started watching it 2 weeks ago. So I'm at season 4 right now.
And the day after Endgame, I came home and I put it on, and I've watched every single episode in that 3 weeks. So
Wait, what?
I'm completely caught up. I've watched every episode.
I'll say this. The previous season of Game of Thrones was starting to go downhill. Like, the character development was, like, just not there. And I was like, okay, they're going to take their time, and they're going to wrap this show up, and they're, going to make extended episodes. I was like, okay. The first episode was a huge letdown. I was like, man, really? I waited this long for this episode? The second one got a little better. The one episode everybody was waiting for was like The Long Night, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought they did a great job. People were like, oh, they didn't kill anybody important. I'm like, well, they're not gonna for this.
Kyle's like, take the headphones off.
I'm
I'm
not gonna spoil anything.
It's
for you.
fine. Believe me.
And,
I think I know more or less what's going to happen.
You turned on Facebook,
like
right?
basically after that Long Night episode, it's just like, it's just like a fucking free for all. It's just like they're wrapping everything up nice and neat. Every character is acting the polar opposite that they've behaved throughout the previous seasons. It's fucking disappointing. I'm just like, why am I even watching this? But like, obviously I've invested X amount of time, and I gotta see how this turns out. But I'm spending an hour and a half on each episode, just like shaking my head, like, what?
Now, see, I gotta tell you, like you said, you have all that time invested. I have 3 weeks invested, and I love it. I think every season has made total sense to me so far.
We've had the same amount of time invested because we watched the same amount of
Yeah, but I haven't been waiting. That's what I'm saying. I haven't
Right.
sat for 2 years waiting for this episode to come out. My expectations
Well,
were
it's
never
probably
there.
like Endgame, where you're like, you had the biggest boner I've ever seen, like watching every movie.
I still have
before
a huge
And, like,
boner for it.
I'm like, man, I watched and I was like, yeah, it's cool. The end. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. I didn't have the expectations for it. Like, even though I've been watching those movies all along, I was just like,
with Endgame, I kind of knew where it was going to end. I knew how it was going. Like, I knew who was going to not make it.
yeah, Iron Man.
We've
We've all seen it at this
Yeah,
point.
at this point,
Iron Man's
there's
dead.
no-
Who gives a shit?
I knew that was going to happen. I knew
Right.
he and Captain America were out.
They're like, we can't afford these fucking actors anymore. Get
You know
them out of here.
You know what's great is they keep talking on all these shows I see. Like, they finally lifted the spoiler ban. They mean spoiler ban. It's not like they're like the police
Yeah.
or something. They're not going to come get you.
You're under arrest.
I heard you were talking about the ending. You're going to have to come with us. Yeah, who cares? But, yeah, so Iron Man.
Yeah.
And obviously Black Widow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was that
I
was-
think the problem I have with the Game of Thrones, too, obviously the character development is just shot to shit, but I feel like there's no risk in that show anymore. Whereas every single Marvel movie I've ever watched, it's just like the comics. I mean, they're entertaining, but nothing really is going to happen. The good guy's going to save the day, and the bad guys lose, and the Earth is saved. It's the same thing that you've been reading for 50, 60, 70 years. Like, there's no real reward in any of those movies, like, whatsoever. Because you watch it, you're like, okay, here's Doctor Strange, or here's Ant-Man, or here's Captain America. I'm like, who really gives a fuck what's going to happen? Because they're going to live, and they're going to save the day, and whatever.
But
It's
all
just-
these
it's just
people
entertaining.
that turn their nose up at comic books for decades are now the ones watching these movies and making the big deal about it. That's really where it's coming down to.
True story. Yeah, I think
Well,
so.
I don't know. I don't know if I understand your point.
Well, like the reason they're popular is all these people that really didn't, people that had read the comics all this time were excited to see these, and we've all gone to see them. But
just
the
like
people that are
just a
really talking about,
general
general
audience, yeah.
Joe off the street who never really read the comics now is saying, "Well, I really enjoyed Iron Man," so now they see all of these movies after that, and they're the ones that are really making the huge deals about Game of Thrones and
Right.
all these other things. It's not really the fanboys. They know what they like, and they're going to talk about it amongst themselves. But it seems like the social media universe is all those people that really never, it wasn't a part of their collective growing up, and now they're.
I saw.
But now
some,
they are. Now it's their thing.
That's like akin to that little meme or whatever was going around on Facebook. So about those the end game and the gross that it's made, and it was like, oh, I could have told you how awesome these characters were years ago when I was growing up, but no one liked them, type of thing. And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, what is that? All these angry nerds. Like, I couldn't get laid for 30 years, and now I see these hot girls in these movies. That's what it reminds me of. I'm like,
These
dude.
nerds have had their day.
I'm like, these girls still don't want to fuck
Right,
you.
I was gonna say, they're still not
and
gonna.
these other dudes that are casually watching them still don't want to be your fucking friend.
Right.
So,
You got about a
Exactly.
2-day window to talk with these people, and then they're going to throw you down the same wall that you were for the last
they're gonna
30
give you
years.
that same wedgie, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Did you notice the cameo, Howard the Duck, in Endgame?
Rich, unlike you, I haven't seen it 6 times yet.
Well,
I
you
missed
better get
it.
out there and watch it.
I missed the cameo too.
No, I only
wanna see
saw it the first day. I
Me
didn't
too.
see the cameo.
I have not seen it since the first time.
Rich, how many
so.
times have you seen it?
Twice.
Oh, really?
Yep. Twice. I went the first day, and then I went a few days later because I was pissed that the guy next to me was kicking my chair the entire time.
Wait, the first night you saw some guy was kicking your chair?
Well, no, that was the second time.
Oh.
That was the second time. But after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to damn movies anymore. I just,
You sent me a message that says, I'm like, oh, when I saw it the first time, it was like, whatever experience. But like the second time, it was totally different. I was like fucking annoying people, and I was like,
well, that is true. The first night, man, that was kind of like, it was great. There was people clapping and cheering, and I mean, everything was going wild. You were like, yeah, this is a freaking experience in here. Then I went and seen it like 3 days later, and you could have heard a pin drop. Nobody was saying anything.
You're like,
Even
boring.
even at the
People smoking weed, looking at their cell phones.
You hear the bottle rolling down the concrete. No, I mean even at the part where you think, oh, Cap gets the hammer, when he raises it, everybody goes nuts. Nothing. Dead quiet. You're like, okay, all right.
So it was only Rich like, yeah,
sit down, nerd. Okay. Yeah. But you know what? Let's take a real quick break.
Let's take a quick bake.
Let's take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to actually pick your brain a little bit more about the Game of Thrones thing. So
That's fine.
All right, we'll grab it.
Just give me some space. I need miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of space. Just give me some space. Gotta get those miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of space. Just give me some space.
And welcome back again to Collect 'Em All. So I said before the break that we were going to talk a little bit more about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you're gonna pick my brain.
I'm going to pick your brain about this. And this kind of coming on the heels of the news, and maybe you were just saying this about there's a petition going around right now. Did you see this?
I did not see this.
It's a petition apparently that's been signed by 250,000 people
Wow.
demanding that the last season of Game of Thrones be redone. They remake it.
What?
Oh, this is much like that Last Jedi when they
Right.
wanted to have a petition to, like, I don't know, wipe the slate clean and redo it or something.
Yeah, this
Right.
is no longer canon.
Right.
In fact, it doesn't exist at all. So I don't think that people realize that, they just spent a shit ton of money making this. They're not going to redo it.
No.
You
It's-
get what you get.
It's got the highest ratings of anything HBO's ever aired.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
this
like
is-
HBO's are going to be, okay, 250,000 people want us to redo it? Yeah, sure.
This is actually the lowest rated season of Game of Thrones, though.
Yeah.
So what's your beef with it? Because honestly, you sound a lot like the other 250,000 people.
Well, at first I gotta say, like, I don't dissect Game of Thrones and, all the little nuanced things. I just watch it strictly for entertainment. Like,
What?
I don't
That's
get
crazy.
so involved. There's
It's more than a show, damn it.
Yeah, there's
a way of
so
life.
many people that get so involved in it, and just being, I would say, I'm a pretty casual viewer, right? I would say, and being just a casual viewer, being this disappointed, I can see where this really die-hard fan base is up in arms. Like, I get it, because like I said, you're spending all this time and whatever with these characters, and then when they start acting like complete buffoons or out of character, all of a sudden, just to wrap the show up nice and neat, it's insulting. Now, I mean, obviously they don't have the books completed,
Right.
so there's no source material to draw from. But you would think, making the show season after season from said source material, you would have an idea of what these characters may say, do, or
Where
how they
it's
act.
going.
Yeah, where it's going. You would have a general idea. The past two seasons, and especially this one, is just very, very basic. There's I don't really know how to put it, but there's nothing intelligent happening in the show whatsoever anymore. Like Tyrion Lannister, like one of my favorite characters. He's just I don't know.
there.
It's like he can't. It's like when Yoda can't predict anything in the prequels. You're like, wait, I thought you're supposed to be the smartest dude in the galaxy. Now Tyrion Lannister is like, can outwit basically anyone.
Right.
But he's just like a bumbling fool now. Jon Snow, everyone's hero. Like I said, he's like Homer Simpson now. He's like completely useless. I just like he's dumbfounded by everything. I'm like, what? I get it, and I'm just again the casual viewer. I'm the casual viewer.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's a petition doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, this is just entertainment, people. You
Right,
know, like we were disappointed with Lost. I guess I didn't really watch it, but I know people are bummed out with that show. Obviously, Star Wars is tanking. There's plenty of TV shows. Look at Seinfeld. We spent years watching Seinfeld. Now, granted, it's just a sitcom, but people were up in arms about that last episode. Like, oh, this is the fucking worst. Revisiting that last episode, I actually think is genius.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Sitting in the prison
Yeah,
cell.
because
it's hilarious.
Because they're fucking terrible people.
Yeah.
You know, but you didn't realize it until
Right.
then. But you know, again, disappointed. You know, it's tough to have a show that is universally loved and just keep raising the bar. But when it's time to wrap it up, it's tough. It's tough to tie up all the loose ends and not make it kind of corny. But I really feel like they just, I don't know.
They're phoning it in.
They're phoning it in.
I see a lot of people saying that like there's no creative writing in there anymore.
No.
The character development, I've seen
This
everybody
is
say it
gone.
just tanked.
You remember when you watched was it Revenge of the Jedi?
Revenge of the Nerds.
That too. When Chewbacca knows Yoda, you're like,
Revenge of
Revenge
the
of the Sith.
There you go.
Yeah.
At that point, you're like, man, everybody fucking knows everybody. Now, like, the whole galaxy seems so much smaller.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why does everyone gotta know everybody? Game of Thrones kind of feels like that now. Like, it's like, the way they're just tying it up seems like, oh, this is just so convenient. How this is all, like, taking place. And it's like, whatever.
You know, it's very weird because, and again, I don't want to say too much because obviously you haven't heard it.
I haven't seen
you
it,
haven't
but
seen it.
I kind of get an idea.
You're not going to escape knowing how it ends before
He
you
probably
absolutely.
already does,
Yeah.
honestly. But
Yeah.
but the thing, you know, the thing about it is, we were saying I don't have as much time invested in it. As you're really looking at it, not only has there been 8 seasons, but there was like 2 years off.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
So people have 10 years invested. They got a full decade of their life invested in this show, and I guess kind of going with what you said, I don't really know if they would have been satisfied with anything.
Right.
You know, that's the problem, and I've always said that about episodic TV. I mean, that's the big thing. You're like, man, you're going season after season after season after season. You got so much time invested in this. Where's it all going? Like Walking Dead. We've said it before. I mean, honest to God, I don't know where the hell they're going with this script. I don't think they do. But you got to keep watching. Got 9 years invested of my life waiting to see what happens. Right. So I don't know, man. As I was watching this back, I guess kind of watching it fast and with no breaks, and I didn't really have time to build up this, all these expectations. I've been watching it. I've been completely fine with everything. Even the arcs, I get it full well, man. I went to school for this shit, but the character arcs, I can kind of see where they're with some of them where they're going. Not all of them.
I mean, you can see how rabid the fan base is, and then they get off track, like the whole thing where, well, I don't know.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Anyway, Arya Stark winds up having sex with whatever that guy is. I don't know. I can't remember his name. And watching it, that scene happens, ends. Made sense to me. And then all of a sudden, like the next day, people are like up in arms, like, oh, I can't believe they did that. She's like what, 21, 22 in real life. Yeah. She's probably had sex before. People, let's calm the fuck down. And then be like, oh, we grew up with her. And
in real life, she gets a dick all the time.
And yeah, exactly. It's like, in real life, you've grown up with people, and just because you've grown up with them, I think they become adults and they have adult interactions.
Right.
And when you think about a show like Game of Thrones, you think about hundreds of years when, kings were 15-year-olds, they were breeding at like 12, 13, because the life expectancy was so short.
Yeah.
And that's what I think of when I watch a show like this. It could be the last night you're alive. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, I don't get it. I don't think it was gratuitous. If you saw the episode, it wasn't gratuitous. It wasn't like a big deal. But of course, people are like up in arms. And I feel like, do people just have to complain about every single thing in every show or every movie? I'm like, I don't get it. Like, no one's happy.
The Long Night, the episode Long Night. Obviously, I mean, I watched that and I was like, damn, that is pretty intense. That
was a great episode.
Great episode, and still I seen people on there going, it was filmed too dark.
It's too dark.
Tell what's going on. And you're just like, man, you are just never going to be happy with anything. short of like somebody coming out and shitting you gold bars,
Yeah.
you're just not going to be happy.
It's like let's see these people make a fucking episode.
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm like, so granted, I am disappointed with the season, but again, whatever. I'm the casual viewer.
It is what it
The
is.
show's
You
gonna
gotta
end.
kinda-
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
And
what
then
it
you
is.
go on to
Yeah.
the next one, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how it is.
Yep.
I mean,
Wait, are you subscribing to HBO or are you watching this illegally?
no, we're actually subscribing to HBO till next month.
Okay. I mean, I did the same thing. I subscribed, and I'll turn it off probably
Yeah.
when it's done. But if you want to watch a great show, great, Barry.
Barry?
I love Bill Hader. I think he's
Are
great.
you watching Barry?
I have not watched it, but I
Dude,
love Bill Hader.
Watch Barry. I don't want to tell you anything about it. It is fucking fantastic.
Comedy or?
I think
Ish?
it seems like the
Yeah.
previews I've watched. It kind of
It's like a dark
Yeah,
comedy.
yes.
Okay, it's a guy who comes out of the military, fights in Afghanistan. He becomes basically a hired assassin,
Okay.
killer, right? Obviously not legal.
Right.
And he goes to LA, and I don't want to explain how this happens, but he stumbles into this acting class, and it's DeFon's playing the acting coach.
Henry Winkler.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Okay.
the whole cast is phenomenal. So now he's found his Bill Hader's found his calling and wants to be an actor. It doesn't want to be an assassin anymore, but he keeps getting dragged back into it. It's hilarious, but there's some really dark stuff in it too.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best shows I've seen in
I'll-
quite some
I'll
time. You
definitely
should
have
check
to
that out.
Especially since I got my free.
There's only
HBO.
2 seasons, so you can rip through this right
Nice.
quick. And I think the final episode of this second season comes out next week, so you can wrap that up real quick.
It's funny, man. As people dedicate their lives to these seasons of these shows, and this is the thing that always bums me out. I mean, not only do you risk those characters either retiring or getting bored with the show, kind of again going back to Walking Dead. You've been watching it for 8 years, and all of a sudden going into the 9th, Rick Grimes, the guy who plays Rick Grimes, like, sorry, Andrew Lincoln, I don't feel like doing this anymore. Where does this show go?
Right.
I mean, they want to keep going. They're in the middle of nowhere as far as the script goes. We got to tie this up. Nope, we're going to try to keep this thing going. I mean, you can
I
lose your
stopped watching that.
You can
I
lose
did
your
too.
actors along the way. And I started thinking about my mother. My mother's getting up there in age. I think she's like 70 years old. She's been watching this damn show for 9 years. I joke with her all the time. I said, what are you going to do if you check out before this thing ends? You're going to go to your grave not knowing
So she's like, I'm going to come back as a zombie just so I can watch it.
I'm going to be a walker watching the walkers. Yeah, but I mean, there's a good chance, man. You watched it the whole last part of your life and never found out what happened.
It's funny you say that about your mom and watching this Walking Dead. So many years ago, when I was a youth and a misguided youth, I thought, there was wind of a new Star Wars coming out. That was the prequels, and being obsessed with Star Wars. I was like, I don't really care what the hell happens. This fucking world ends, or I have a heart attack and drop dead. Let me just live long enough to see these new Star Wars movies, being the prequels. Sometimes it just doesn't matter, man. So your mom, if your mom passes before The Walking Dead ends, you gotta reassure. Sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like you might be better off never seeing it.
She won't have to be around when the petition starts.
Yeah. I would have been better off not seeing that Anakin freaking Kenobi fight.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's okay. When the whatever that homemade video that I actually saw a long time ago, but it seems to be circulating again, is better than all of the new Star Wars movies in the past decade of Vader fighting Kenobi. Like that, I mean, it is
For fan-made, man, that
phenomenal.
is outstanding.
But did you ever see the Star Wars Revisited, where the guy redid the effects for the original Star Wars for A New Hope? For episode
I don't
4?
know if I saw that or not.
It's pretty cool. I mean, he takes it. He does actually redo the lightsaber battle with Obi-Wan
Is it
and
as good as
Vader.
that one I just saw?
No, it's not as good as that one, but he does a pretty decent
Because
job.
that one is seriously intense.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
they go at it, man. No
it's
doubt
insane.
about it.
They
good.
really should just insert that
Yeah.
and make that like
We're gonna just take this because
Yeah.
they can.
they could.
New canon.
Fine.
Honestly,
Why not?
I would totally accept it.
Yeah.
Instead of that geriatric fucking sword tapping bullshit that's in the first one.
Yeah,
If you strike me down, oh God, I can't remember.
I never understand. No one ever seems to complain is when Obi-Wan's lightsaber seems to like go out.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, and he's holding the stick.
yeah. What the,
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is it? I'm like, what? What's going on here?
It's called special effects. We didn't have it. We didn't nail that one.
There's like so many things that you watch, like, how did you not see this in the playback? Like the Game of Thrones and the Starbucks coffee
Oh,
cup.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone's like losing their mind about that. I think that's fantastic, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, the famous one in Star Wars, obviously the stormtrooper coming through the doorway and clonks his head when he's coming through.
I don't even think that's as bad as like when Luke's like Carrie. I'm like,
Yeah.
Luke,
Yeah.
and then
Carrie!
no one ever mentions that Lando says Cluse instead of
that was
close.
too Cluse.
That was too Cluse. Oh, was it?
Did you have nobody watching any of these? Nobody was watching anything.
George was busy counting the money. He didn't
Yeah.
have time to.
Like, I don't know. They don't catch this stuff.
And I still haven't seen it, but supposedly there's one of on Endor where 3PO was sleeping in the background.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
Wait, how could you tell he's an android?
Yeah.
I think
Droid.
actually I was reading an interview with Anthony Daniels one time, and he was saying that there is a scene. He didn't want to say where it was, but if you look hard, you'll actually see him, like part of his suit, sleeping behind a tree
Oh, that's
because he was
amazing.
sleeping on set.
Looks like that
Great.
scene in Empire where he raises his hand and like half of his suit starts coming apart.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yep, it's
that's-
like it's not like connected or whatever.
Yeah, it just like flops off of his arm.
Perfect. Hey, before we wrap up the show, I want to go back, and we were having discussion when we went to break there about some of our movie experiences, and I know I was talking on our other show, the Loompa Land, about when I went to see Endgame, the heavy mouth breather that was sitting next to me, and yeah, man, it was such a weird experience, especially now with the assigned seating that they're putting in all these theaters.
Which is the worst
Yeah, that-
idea
terrible
in the
idea.
history of bad ideas.
Yes.
And that's crazy because I think all three of us go to see movies nonstop. We go see quite a bit.
And there's a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to this
Right.
summer.
Yeah.
So and I don't get this because they said this is to enhance the experience and I mean the recliners. I can't argue with those recliners.
It is. So
Oh, they're
they're
beautiful.
nice.
Great
so
seats.
the experience in a movie theater typically is obnoxious pricks, cell phones. So it's constant fucking irritation. So we're going to enhance that experience by forcing you to sit next to
Right,
some
that's the
assholes
thing.
that you don't want to sit next to. And if you dare move, we're going to make it a huge fucking process where you got to go out and like change your tickets and choose a different seat. Yeah, you're definitely enhancing that experience.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day,
You're making it worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
back in the day, you could just get up and move. Now you can't. You have to make it a whole freaking
First
big deal.
it started with me sneaking into the movies and not paying for
Ruined it.
shit.
Yeah.
Now that became impossible unless you went to the marquee on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday where there was never like a ticket person. You
Yeah,
could
they just walk in. It's
Yeah.
a free for all.
Oh, dude, we have a customer? I just walk in.
Buy some popcorn. We'll call it even. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, like the guy that I went and seen Endgame the second time, sitting next to me. I mean, moving around his chair like every 5 seconds. He's like one of those like what do they call them? The drug addicts that like freak out.
Yeah, like a tweaker or
Yeah, like
something.
tweaking. He's kicking his chair every 5 seconds. He actually at one point leaned over and was almost on my lap, and I thought to myself, I'm like, my God, I would do.
This guy is sexy.
This guy's sexy. Only he'd lean a little further. Oh, I thought, my God, I wish I could do anything to get away from this asshole. And I knew it was going to be this way. Not to sound this way, but when I watched these guys come walking in the theater, I already
You
had
profile
my,
everybody.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
profiled them. Dude, it looked like the Wu-Tang Clan walking in. And they sat next to me, and I'm like, damn. I mean, just...
Who am I going to get? Meth? Now I got ODB next to me.
Yeah, dude, those guys came in the theater, and you're looking at them like, they're not here to watch the movie. They're just here to...
Ruin my
bullshit.
time!
Well, you get
They did, man.
Well, if you see that really fat guy walking in with 2 buckets of popcorn under each arm, if he sits next to you, he's going to be breathing heavy. He's
Oh, yeah. Heavy mouth breather.
like, Jesus Christ. I mean, Darth Vader next to you,
Or the lady with the kids that comes in,
yeah.
and the kids are
Yeah.
just nonstop talking and talking and talking and talking. You're like, I seriously will beat your children if you don't take them out of here. I mean, you're killing me.
I remember this is when I was living in Syracuse, and I went and saw Shadow of the Vampire. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
movie, right? So
Yeah.
I go in,
Willem Dafoe.
and there's probably not a lot of draw for this movie. So I go in, it's me and one weirdo sitting way in the back, right? About 20 minutes into this movie, this lady comes in with her kid, and I was like, this really isn't a movie for a kid.
Right.
And it's really weird that you bothered now that the movie's been playing for like 20 minutes, right? So I assumed that her child was maybe around 4, maybe 3 or 4. bored, starts like jibber jabbering, and to keep the child quiet, she hands him her car keys.
Of course.
Her fucking car keys. Jingle, jingle, jangle, jingle. Dude, this went on for fucking like 10 minutes, and I was like, no.
Why didn't you just give him an air horn?
So I get up and I'm like, can we give the keys a rest? And then that was like the end. I went back to my seat and I didn't hear any keys. And then maybe like 15 minutes later, this lady just like laughs at her kid, and I was like, oh, I get it. You were probably in some other fucking movie,
Yeah.
and you decided like, I want a freebie, so I'm gonna walk into this random movie I don't give a fuck about
And bother everybody.
and ruin the two other creeps who made for this movie. I was like, I see that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Why do you come to the movies just to ruin someone else's time?
Well, like the last time, I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. It was a while ago with Deadpool, when Deadpool 2 was out. And I remember I went to, I think it was about 9 o'clock at night. I went to the showing. And this guy came in and had 2 toddlers. I mean toddlers with him. They could barely walk on their own. He was carrying one. And it sets them down, and I mean, every 5 seconds, they're making all this noise. Of course, that's a pretty violent movie.
Yeah, that's not appropriate.
No, and those kids started crying and crying. You think he got up and brought them out? Hell no, man. He sat right there with those kids crying the entire time.
Daddy's got to finish.
Yeah, I mean,
For a few more minutes.
you know, Kyle's a father. I'm a father. I get when you have young kids because your life changes and you just really can't do what you want to do willy-nilly anymore.
Right.
So sometimes it's hard as fuck to get that time to go to the movies. And if it's something
Yep.
you're dying to see, I get the impulse to be like, okay, you
Right.
know, maybe I'll just bring them. I'll take the chance. But dude, not Deadpool.
No.
Yeah,
You know,
no, yeah.
Not an R-rated movie
Right.
like that. And especially something loud and abrasive.
Yeah.
And if you do take that chance, let's hope it's appropriate. And if they misbehave, I'm sorry, man. You gotta chalk that up and you gotta leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just
I've had to. I wanted to see one of the Ninja Turtle movies, the newer ones. So I brought the little one, and he was maybe a few months old. So he starts getting restless, and I'm like, I gotta go.
You
I
gotta
can't
go.
sit here with him making noise and everybody getting pissed off at me. So
I feel
took
like
him out.
I always have the same. I have the same feeling going to the movie theater. Just about the same feeling I have when I go to like a concert. Now I've seen a million concerts, but I always have the same like massive anxiety before I see a show. Is somebody going to be next to me that irritates me, where I get in like a fight with? Because it's definitely happened.
Yeah.
Where I get just like super fucking mad at. I remember we went and saw. I think it was Baroness played with the Dillinger Escape Plan in Albany, and Nick went, Adrian, whoever Nick was dating at the time. And Dillinger Escape Plan, I don't know if either of you guys listen to them. I mean, they're just loud, abrasive, they're fucking crazy, their stage presence is bananas, and people go off, right? So Adrian's like, I want to get to the stage, I want to see. I'm like, no, like the crowd gets fucking crazy. I'm like, you ready for this? She's like, yeah, we'll just get, like, if you get close to the stage, it'll be close enough where the people behind you are the ones that are just going bananas, and you should be okay. So we get her close to the stage. I'm standing behind her, and there's just some fucking jackass that's like purposely like slamming in and like throwing his elbow into her, and she's like, trying to push him away. Now, it's one thing if you're gonna like fucking mosh or get fucking crazy, but when you're doing it on purpose and trying to like hurt somebody, that's not appropriate. That's not the etiquette, right?
Especially when you see that they're not into it.
So
Right.
Adrian's like, she goes, this guy keeps fucking elbowing me. It's just pissing me off. So I look at him and I kind of give him like a death stare. And if anybody knows me, I have patience until I have none. And when I have none, you better fucking run, because I am just mean as shit. And I don't give a shit if you're 7 foot tall or you're a fucking shrimp. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna attack you. So I give this guy this death fucking glare, and he just kind of gives me this goofy look, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. So I'm like, okay, Adrian, just stay in front of me, and I'll deal with him if he bumps into me. So he starts fucking shifting over, and he does it again to her. Dude, in like a snap of an instant, I grab this guy by the fucking head, put him in a fucking headlock, and I crank him down so like I'm gonna like just snap his neck. And I'm like, if you fucking touch her one more fucking time, I'm going to fucking kill you. And you should have seen the look on his face. He was just like shook, and he just like boop, scurried and disappeared.
Yep.
But that's it. Now I'm fucking pissed for the rest of the
Yeah,
show.
right.
You've rattled my nerves. All I can focus on was what a prick this guy was,
Yeah.
and like the show is completely ruined. So if I
Yeah.
go to the movie theater, it's the same thing.
Right.
So
you go to the movie theater, and you're like, okay, I'm excited to see this movie. I know it's going to be packed. I don't want to see it like 2 weeks and hear about it, like way in advance. I want to see it the first night so it's fresh. I'm not getting, spoilers.
All right.
So I always go the first night, but I always have that anxiety. I'm like, who's going to be sitting next to me? What the hell's going to happen? So I discussed the Spider-Man incident.
Oh, you're infamous with the Spider-Man.
The first Spider-Man comes out, and I go with this girl, Dawn, and Ed Schrader and his friend Andy. And the movie hasn't even fucking started yet, right? It's just not even previews. It's just like whatever, like advertisements are on. This is in Syracuse. And I don't know what the hell's going on, but this girl, like, keeps, like, turning around, like, talking to her husband or boyfriend, like talking shit about us. And I was like, I don't understand what the hell's happening. But I hear them whispering, and Dawn's like, I think they're, like, talking shit about us. And I was like, all right. I try to ignore it. Now I'm getting stressed. I'm like, God damn it. Like, I can't just enjoy anything. Something's always got to happen. It's, like, bugging me out. I knew this would happen. So this keeps going on, and this lady turns around for, like, the third, fourth time, like, staring at us. So I go, what the fuck are you looking at? Turn the fuck around and look at the fucking screen. And this guy that she's with, whether it's her husband or boyfriend, he kind of, like, motions like he's turning to look at me and, like, going to stand at the same time, like he's going to be a tough guy. And I literally go, dude, if you fucking stand up, I'm going to fucking kill you. Sit your fucking ass back down. Both of you fucking look ahead, and if I see you turn around, we're going to have a fucking problem. Now I'm, like, stressed. My blood pressure's elevated. Dawn's embarrassed. Ed knows me enough to know, like, oh, boy, here, like, something bad. Something terrible is going to happen here. And, the preview star, and we're, like, halfway into the movie, and I'm still, like, shaking with fucking anger. And it's like, it's just fucking ruined, man. I'm like, it's totally fucking ruined. And all I can think about watching this movie is, when the fucking house lights go up, I swear to God, if this guy fucking has something to say, I'm going to beat his ass into the ground. But that's all I'm thinking about, is like, what's going to happen the minute these house lights go up. Because I swear to God, if he said something, and it totally, like, ruins the movie.
Yeah, it does.
So, Spider-Man, I think it was 2 or 3, comes out, and I'm dating this girl, Christine, at the time. And we're going to go see the midnight show, right? We're running late. I'm so excited to see it. I think it was Spider-Man 2. It definitely was. It definitely was Spider-Man 2. So I'm super excited to see it. I get in the car, and we lived, like, in, like, Eastwood in Syracuse. Kind of like a residential neighborhood or whatever. I'm hauling ass. I'm going, like, 55 and a 30. Cop pulls me over, like, almost instantaneously. He's like, and I'm like, oh, God damn it. Now we're really going to be fucking late. I'm like, never going to get there. And he comes up to the car, and he goes, license and registration. So I hand it to him, and he's like, where are you going in such a hurry? So I go, Spider-Man 2. And he starts fucking laughing in my face, like, just starts breaking my balls. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, I get it. He's like, dude, take this stuff back and just get there safe. Don't speed. I'm like, thanks. So he just totally lets me go. So now, so it already set the pace, right? So we get to the movie theater. It's fucking packed. It's basically sold out. We have no seats left in the house, right? Except literally one to my left. It's hot as shit already in this theater because there's so many people. Now my anxiety is like going through the roof. I'm like, who is going to take this goddamn seat? I hope no one sits here. It's already crowded enough for me. I hope nobody sits here. It'd be perfect. But we haven't got to the movie yet. We're kind of still in like that weird early second preview type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I see this monstrous girl come walking in. And I look over at Christine, and she looks at me, and she goes, she's going to sit right next to you. And I was like, oh, no, man. I'm like, and I see this beast looking back and forth. She's looking. She's like, you can tell she's bummed. She's not finding any seats because there literally is like nothing left. And now she's getting closer. I see that she's got this gigantic icy, right? Gigantic blue raspberry icy and some fucking chips and maybe a hot dog. I can't remember what it was. I was like, oh, God damn it. She's going to sit right next to me. And I get it. You paid to see this movie. You're excited. You're here for the midnight show. I get it. But it's like, why me? Why me? So
I'm just here for the food.
So she comes up to our row. She looks over and she sees this seat. And I look at her. And I was like, kind of like shrugging my shoulders, like, yeah, whatever. It's open. So she like, and this girl is huge, man. She maneuvers her way through, I don't know, like a dozen people to get to this seat next to me on my left. She sits down, and now I have no fucking arm space. Now you guys know exactly what this feels like.
Oh, yeah.
You had some elbow room.
Yeah.
Now you have none. Now you're like scrunching your fucking arms in like like on a shitty airplane ride that you're just like just dreading. And I look at Christine and I whisper, I'm like, that fucking icy. It's gonna wind up on me. I just fucking know it. I just have a feeling. So I'm tense. I'm agitated, and I'm just like fearing the worst. The movie started, and I can't focus on the movie. I've been waiting for this movie for months, and now I can't focus on it. So I keep looking to my left to see what she's doing. She's got her fucking chips on her lap, and she, no joke, rests this icy right between her fucking boobs, right? And I'm like, fuck. There's no hands on this icy. There's nothing securing this icy.
She wasn't even holding it?
No, it's just her sweaty ass tits are just fucking holding this icy
Like a
And
suction cup.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh man. I was like, son of a
That's so
bitch.
wrong.
So I'm getting like real bugged out. But nothing's happening. So we're like 20, 25 minutes into this movie. Nothing's happening. Everything's good. She's like finished her chips. Everything's like okay. I kind of like wedge my arm in there for like a little bit of room. It's cool. And I would say maybe an hour in. Sploosh! All over my fucking lap. My lap is covered in fucking blue icy. It's sticky as shit. It's all over my fucking arm. Christina's laughing her fucking balls off. And I was like, oh my God. This girl's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You are sorry.
She's got fucking napkins. She's patting my arm and my leg down. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. Just don't even bother. Don't worry about it. So, whatever, we got like 40 more minutes left of this movie, and my arm is like drying, sticky.
Sticking to the chair.
I'm so fucking irritated. I want to kill this lady. And I was like, if you just didn't use your fucking boobs as fucking clamps, this wouldn't have happened. You could have just held on to this fucking icy. I know it's so big it doesn't fit in the goddamn cup holder, but you know, you could have held on, put it between your legs, cool that crotch off. I don't know, done whatever. That didn't have to happen. So like, you know, the house lights go up, and I obviously had a miserable time, and she's still like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," and I was just like, I had no words, man. I wasn't even pissed at the time. I was just like, you know, it's the Spider-Man curse, man. I can't fucking win.
It's Tobey Maguire.
I can't go to any of these movies. So now when they have this assigned seating, it's just like it makes my anxiety all that much. I almost didn't go to Endgame because I was like, man, I can't handle this assigned seating. But thank God the bill had that, like, you know, bought out that, you know, theater and you know, had everybody go to that, because otherwise I literally couldn't handle that. Because when you're like, oh my God, tickets for this other theater, I'm like, I don't know who's gonna be sitting next to me, man. I just can't handle it.
You'll be safe for this one, but Far From Home is coming out, and you might want to avoid that. That's a Spider-Man movie. So.
Yeah, I know, you're right. I better stay away from that. I was talking to Kyle, man. I'm dreading Toy Story because I'm like, you have assigned seating with kids?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Great idea.
It's gonna be terrible.
You know, I just seen before I came out here, we started podcasting tonight, that now the new thing they're looking at is making lay-down beds.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I actually
instead
saw
of the
that.
assigned chairs, the leather reclining chairs, it's now beds.
Oh, so you can just like straight up fuck in the movie.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, boy, are you encouraging people to just get it on? I mean, you know,
They have like
Why
fucking
not?
condoms at the concession stand.
I'll take some popcorn, some
the-
Juju fruits, and give me a 6-pack of those condoms.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll take a large popcorn in the morning after pill.
But that does definitely speak to, you know, what America has become, man. If you can't go to a movie and not lay down, I mean, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
right.
I don't know if you guys are Wall-E fans, but let me tell you, man, that movie predicted it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
I
remember
love
just a bunch
Wall-E.
of like fucking
Disney
sloths
World, yeah.
sitting
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
just like dealing their virtual lives. I'm like,
Yep.
wow, man, you called it.
On the chairs that just roll you around because they're too fat and out of shape to walk.
Yeah, they don't even know how to walk at the end of the movie. Like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah, right.
When
Fresh
they go
air
to-
and walking?
When they go to stand for the first time, I'm like, whoa, these legs are meant for that.
But somehow they had kids. Somehow they figured out how to have kids.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, and they want to bring alcohol into all these movie theaters. I'm like, what? What are you crazy?
Alcohol in beds sounds wonderful. Keep going and making positive strides
Yeah,
there.
yeah, make sure that the only thing is like, please turn off your cell phones. And now it's gonna be like, dude, can you stop fucking right next to me?
Yeah, right. I'm
I mean,
trying to actually
if
watch
I-
this.
At least, you know, offer to join in and bang your girlfriend or something like dude, you can't just do that next to me.
I'm surprised they haven't put up like little partitions, little walls that you can like.
Oh yeah, the cum shot shield.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be the next thing. You can get the bed, or you can come in and get the bed for a regular ticket price. But if you want the canopy that goes over you, so nobody can see inside.
Right.
Instead of going to the end game, you're like, oh, I hope this guy doesn't breathe on me. And I'm like, God, I hope these people don't like jizz on me.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna lay on the bed. You're like, what is this? That's no blue slushy.
And you're gonna, every time you watch Endgame or whatever, you're gonna be like, yeah, this was a scene where those people were really,
totally.
he was really drilling her at this point.
Yeah. So. That heavy mouth breather. Yeah, he was getting it on.
Oh, buddy, he didn't last too long there.
You're gonna hear him in this one going. That'll be the end of the movie.
Yeah, America's it's going down the toilet. That's why I just sit around and buy toys and worry about this frivolous nonsense. I just keep my mind off of what's really happening.
Keep your mind off America. On that note, I think we're going to wrap it up. Again, if anybody's out there, made it to the end of the show, and wants to go see us on Saturday, which is what? Saturday the 18th, I think it is?
Yes,
coming up?
so.
Yeah. We'll be there at HeroCon in Utica doing the 12 o'clock spot. I think we're up from 12 to 12:40 is the time. So come down, see us, say hi if you want to, and I don't know. Are we bringing a bunch of stuff like show and tell kind of crap?
I don't know. Are we?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's bring all this stuff down and show everybody. And then the other times I've brought it out, and I'm like, man, I don't know.
Whatever.
Touching this crap.
When we did that thing in Rome, you brought like pretty much your whole house.
And I regretted everything. I was like, oh, it's fine. You can look.
These strangers are touching my toys.
You look with your eyes, sir. You look with your eyes, not your hands.
Did you wash your hands first?
Go wash the grease. You're going to ruin everything, you and your sloppy hands. Anyways, all right, that does it for us. Listen, thanks for tuning in, and we will check you out next time. For Kyle, for Bill, I'm Rich Masucci. Take care, and we'll talk to you real soon. See ya.
Cause it's easier for both of us to tuck it away. So let's play make-believe like there's someone to blame. Pretend that we got something to say, but nothing has changed. Lately it feels like we're stuck in a cage. We can't touch, so what's in the way? And if the whole entire universe is one and the same, why's it so difficult for us to relate? When we met, you were running out in front of the race. I was in the back getting dust on my face. You tried to duck in the shade, but too much was at stake. Guess you thought your house of cards could never crumble and break. Now it's up to disgrace. There's enough on your plate, plus all the drugs you take make for a tougher escape. So let's cut to the chase. Cause in a couple of days you're gonna come to me for somewhere to stay. And I'll say, come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Ride, ride. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Deep inside, feel alive, come inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Deep inside, feel alive, come inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. It's not a miracle, I'm just a spiritual guide. So we still won't admit we're in trouble today, even though the proof is right in front of our face. And every Sunday morning it's another complaint, until we end up in the same half-drunken debate. Lately it feels like we're stuck in a maze, wrong time, wrong place, like a bug in the rain. There's a plug in the drain, so we struggle to stay over the microscope and under the flame. When I left, you busted in and plundered the safe. That's like sneaking up on Superman and tugging his cape. Now I gotta do as much as it takes, or else I'm just another puppet jumping up on the stage. You need to know your love and embrace is worth more than every penny in my humble estate. I wanna take it past the fun in the game. So if you feel like cutting the chains and running away, just say, come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Deep inside, feel alive, come inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Deep inside, feel alive, come inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. inside of us. I'll be a guide, just ride with us. Out of many, we are one. Out of hate, we find the love. We find it from inside of us. I'll be a guide, just ride with us. Out of many, we are one, and out of hate, we find the love. We find it from inside of us. I'll be a guide, come ride with us. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. Out of many, we are one, and out of hate, we find the love. We find it from inside of us. I'll be a guide, come ride with us. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride, deep inside, feel alive, come inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride, deep inside, feel alive, come inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. 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 Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. Ride. Come inside, feel alive, deep inside, take a ride. I'll be a lyrical guide. I'll be a lyrical guide.